Okay, before we start this video, I just want to get something off my chest here. I made a plan to upload sometime last week, but go figure that the day I returned, I got sick and my voice headed really bad. I also wanted to make a video with my thoughts on the new Breath of the Wild trailer, but the issue here is that there's not too much to talk about, at least to me. I honestly felt that a video on it would have been really boring. It doesn't help that I won't budge much with other videos on the game since I want it to be a surprise when I play it. Oh yeah, and I've been playing a bit of Xenoblade Chronicles with the HD texture pack.
Oh my god, would you look at those graphics.
So now that you know what's going on, let's get started, shall we? Ocarina of Time is one of the games that I'll always hold dear to my heart. It was the very first title in the series I had tried, and it paved the way for the Zelda franchise being my favorite of all time. Ocarina of Time just had the right blend of story and gameplay to keep me interested at the time, and to this day it still holds my attention when I replay it. But there has always been something about the OOT engine that just fascinates me to no end. It's a vague vibe, really. There's no words I can muster to explain it. Now of course, I'm not the only person that really appreciates this game, as some people have gone as far as to create hacks for the game to extend its replayability, and hey, I have no problems with that. While a lot of these hacks are typically gimmicky and or just for fun, sometimes you get story hacks, essentially interactable fan fictions that go out of their way to add new dungeons, puzzles, and of course, a new story. Unfortunately, a lot of these tend to be just the same locations heavily modified with in-game mechanics and modified textures, so there's typically nothing truly new to see. And that's where Project Third Quest steps in. This hack serves as a sequel seemingly taking place several years after the events of Majora's Mask. I'm not going to go any further than this, as I honestly don't know what else is going on in the story. We'll just have to wait on that. This hack was created by a team called Project 3Q, a team of people who... Actually, they haven't revealed anything about themselves yet. Heck, you can check their blog about them and it just says, coming soon. The most I can find out is that CDI Fails and someone named Benjamin Walton are involved, though I'm sure more people are in this as well. Okay, so neither the story nor the team are really known, so I really can't go into too much detail here. But the one thing I can talk about is the gameplay, so without further ado, let's get on with it. So, to start off, you're simply dropped into an area with no given explanation. Look, I know this is just a demo, but absolutely nothing to inform you of why you've just descended? That seems a bit... daft. But, before I end up trotting off in a digressive manner, let's get back on topic here. If I had to use one word to describe the location designs, that word would be admirable. It feels incredibly authentic and fascinating, and it's more than clear that the creators are putting in grade A effort. I like the new designs as well. I like how Link's tunic is darker, giving it a more worn feel to it. The antique shield looks like a low-class by current standards Hylian shield, which is pretty cool. And the Galleon sword feels like a creative contrast to the typical brown-handled, white-steeled starter swords. But again, this is a demo, so there's not really much you can do except get a few items and go to the Earth Labyrinth. Well, there is that Great Fairies Fountain, but it's looking a bit more monotonous this time around. So, with nothing else to do, let's take a look at the Earth Labyrinth. As with every first dungeon in a Zelda game, the Earth Labyrinth sticks to the formal, being easy. However, what makes this dungeon different from most first-timers is that it vibrantly emits a great level of immersion. Let me explain. You get the feeling early on that you're in a location that has been struck with disaster. A location that implies it was once a place of respect and worship. A location where vines have dominated the architecture. A location where great pits are foggy, rendering its extremity unidentifiable. In other words, somewhere you're not supposed to be. That's the feeling that very few first-time dungeons manage to capture. This is adventurous presentation done right. The only titles I can recall giving me these feelings are A Link Between Worlds and Skyward Sword. Other titles are debatable, but this is just what I feel. It's fine if you feel differently. But enough about how the dungeon presents itself. How did the actual dungeon feel when I played it? Well, while the dungeon looks amazing, I have to say that it feels a bit underwhelming. It's very straightforward and it doesn't feel like it's putting up much of a fight. I know that sounds like a bit much for a first time dungeon, but the Earth Labyrinth mostly consists of just keys. There are other enemies like Bubbles, 2 Wall Masters, a Wolfos, and a Dead Hand, but those are all pretty far in between. There's also 2 Stalfos at the end, and while they were a good challenge, these 2 will show you just how weak the Galleon Sword actually is. The fight just presses on, and defeating these 2 doesn't even reward your toil with anything. But once again, this is just a demo. All of these issues will likely be tweaked in the final game, and I was still very pleased by the larger emphasis on exploration. I just wish there was a bit more going on in the place. Then again, if you look at Project 3Q's other video on the new location Ice Veil, they seem to have fixed the issue. Oh, and even though they've been reduced to just 3 skins, seeing Rebenak and Aquamentus make an appearance was pretty gratifying. But I really can't talk about anything else without pointing out details in rooms, and I'm surely not going to bore you with that. So, how did I feel about this demo as a whole? Well, sticking to what I said earlier, this hack is very admirable. Now, if the location design had been mediocre, the project wouldn't have much to offer, but even with its lack of varied enemy placements, this hack, even in its current state, is just too interesting to pass up. And it is going to get better. The gallery over at Team Project 3Q's blog shows even better designs that I can't help but be awestruck by. It's more than clear that Project Third Quest was to be the Xenoblade Chronicles 64 of ROM hacks, having gargantuan locations likely filled with plenty of content. It's pretty rare for me to get excited for fan projects. Well, okay, so I'm kind of lying.
So what?
If a new demo comes out, say patch 1.0, I'll be more than glad to review that too, but we'll just have to wait and see. So as always, I thank you all for watching. I'm RoberOnocle and I'll see you guys next time. Peace. Oh, and just to let you know, me and my brother are working on a new outro. I'm just using a placeholder for now.